Good, good morning, everybody. Jack Leeson with StartupTrade.com. It is 9:15 here. First day of the month, last month of the year, December 2nd. And title of the video is Can we continue the RTH sequence from Friday? So we're going to back out, look at this NQ on a higher time frame. Start off on the daily chart. Get rid of some of these drawings. This is quite a mess here with all this stuff. So we are still inside of, I believe, the extension from September 11th, and that is the high from September 11th. The high. We saw this trade in October. We came shy of our targets. We rotated right into the election, down into that same anchor new highs. Took some liquidity out by taking out the prior week's low, rotated straight up to targets, and then we came back down into that same setup, and that's kind of where we are now here. So let me switch on over. Since coming down into that setup, we've rallied out of it, slow grind, and then on Thursday we came into a full 50% retracement long, caught a bid, and then Friday's low was basically a 38% retracement retest of that higher time frame level, as well as a full halfway back long. Now that full halfway back long traded in the morning and ran straight to targets. Great setup into the end of what was the end of November. Even though we were on holiday schedule, that was actually a really good setup. Anyway, Friday there ended up being an extension drawn from this high here at 9:40 a.m. to high. We saw those levels trade right around 10 o'clock. Now the market closed at 12, but we completed those targets into 12 o'clock, and then that same anchor new high here in the overnight session has held, and we're working our way to profit targets. So what I'm interested to see is if we go up and complete this 2150s, that's going to be a completion of the extension. Really anything above 2150, I'm not looking for longs at this point in time above 2150. We very well could just be running, and if we do run above 2150, because we did never get this next traditional setup after rallying out of Friday's high, if we blow through this extension's targets and start trading near the top side of our range, ideally what I'd like to see at some point in time is us actually rotate down into what will be the overnight high going into Friday to high. Now on a potential deeper pullback here, we very well could just get this next traditional from Friday's low to high, and that would take out the overnight low. We definitely would have some liquidity down there, and that 20,924 as of right now would be a great setup. The most bullish thing I look for here this morning right now is if we just hold the halfway back from the overnight lows. That's going to be a 20,988 and basically a gap fill from Friday's session. And I will look to take that trade here this morning. Moving on to the S&P 500. The S&P did get its next full retracement here, not as aggressive as the Nasdaq's pattern, which was this intraday extension, but we had Wednesday's low, overnight highs on Friday, kind of pulled back in the morning, a little bit of a front run, and then straight up to its negative 61. We've rotated down into that next traditional 60.39s, 60.39 half. That's going to be that level, and if we get that deeper pullback, what I'm doing is just drawing what is Wednesday's low again too high. So if we do get a deeper pullback here in the ES, that's where I would look for it to happen, all the way down here to maybe 60.30, and at that point in time I would definitely be looking long. Just change this color here, green. But if I'm going to be aggressive, in these indexes, I'm going to follow the index that's more bullish in the overnight session, the index that's taken out the prior day's high, and that's the NQ. So the only thing I'd really be interested in right now in the ES is a retest of the 2039 or 60.39, or maybe a move down into the 60.30s. So those are going to be the two support levels I'm going to anticipate looking for some action here in ES, and my bias is bullish. And if we move on to gold and oil, now gold last week set up inside of this halfway back long on Thursday. We rallied to the top side of the range, and all we got last night was a nice clean retest. That upside target is this 2700 area, so I'm going to set an alert up there. Once we complete, we can look for that next bigger measured move on the higher time frame. But at this point in time, let's see, are we through? Yeah, we've just gotten through the 61 of the opposing short. There is a possibility of a halfway back long from the overnight lows to highs. That's about really all I'd look for here. Otherwise, I'll just be ignoring the gold market. And oil's still inside. This 50% retracement short was front run on Friday. Maybe we get a retest of that 69.77, which would just be a sweep through highs and then immediately running into resistance right below that. But other than that, I think oil's kind of like a dead market. I'm really only interested in shorts for the time being until we basically break above the setup that I'm looking at. And at that point in time, you could look for maybe a change in direction. But at this point in time, we continue to make lower lows and lower highs, and I'm only interested in short setups. And the only short setup I have is currently above us. So I just have an alert there. I'm going to stay away from that one for the time being. Here today, I don't think it's going to come in. But that's going to wrap up my morning trade plan. I'll share these levels with you guys in the room last month to make it patient. And I will then jump on the squawk. Take care.